And we're back with more of the Dexter coverage that only I can provide. I mean, I'm sure other people can provide it, but goddammit, I'm the guys providing the most sort of thing, Bob, of it. So yeah, we're back anyway, or I'm back. I've just watched episode 3 of Dexter Original Sin, Miami Vice. The plot is Dexter goes after a loan shark with ties to Batista, as Harry is told to keep an eye on Maria Lagerta, Miami Metro's newest homicide detective, and Deb throws a party to win favours of her volleyball teammates. And in Deb's storyline, she takes some fake cocaine, which is like, I don't know if it's an accurate recipe, but it certainly sounds like it would make for a interesting evening. But that's neither here nor there. It's just cool to see a teen show where even if they're doing fake cocaine, the teens are doing cocaine, and everyone's just like, yay, cocaine! Because usually it's all like, drugs are bad. But in this case, it's like, you're in Miami, you're in Florida, it's the early 90s. Go crazy, I guess. I mean, it probably is not real cocaine. No, obviously, they wouldn't be taking real cocaine, the actors anyway, but even in context of sure it's fake. But apparently it does the same thing. Or maybe they're just stupid teenagers and they don't know what cocaine actually tastes like. Who knows? Who knows? But we also get more of Christian Slater's True Romance sequel as younger Harry and Dexter's mum going out doing drug deals. And I gotta be honest, that show, I'd watch that show because that sounds really cool. I'm not sure if it meshes completely with the stuff Dexter's doing, but it's an interesting like flashback to show us how his dad Harry is a manipulative piece of shit, and is basically he has like his code is. I mean, that's one of the things I want to talk about actually, because we're not meant to think Harry's a good guy, right? I think I covered this last week, but like we're meant to think he's an arsehole, right? I mean, because like. There's something really wrong with Dexter, although he's actually a surprisingly good actor for someone who's so unsocial and so unconvincing in any situation. But then he acts perfectly around this guy, Farah. So it's kind of like, you act convincingly there, but in police station you just look confused. I mean, at times it does make me think like, is this actor better suited to play young Dexter or Patrick Bateman? Because it feels like maybe like this episode kind of plays with that thing of him having like the fake ID which says Patrick Bateman, but in some ways he feels more like a Patrick Bateman character than Dexter, although I haven't really seen much Dexter, so maybe I'm talking shit. Speaking of talking shit, this episode is pretty good. Yep, it's good. I mean, I think this is probably the most well constructed episode so far out of the 3, but it's kind of, meandering's the wrong thing, but like it really does feel like there's 2 shows, and not necessarily that you need much more parallel between the 2 things. It's just like it feels at this point there's 2 very good shows in here. Almost like they were toying between a Harry prequel and a Dexter prequel, and they thought, we'll just do both, which is fine. I mean, streaming, they don't have to worry about ratings or stuff like that. But what it means is that you've got 2 good things together, and they're both good, and the overall construct is good, but the problem is that it's not great. It's not great. It's 2 good things, at least 2 very good things which lead to something that's merely good. Now, how do you fix that? Well, firstly, I think the show needs to figure out, is Harry a good guy or bad guy? And I think that's where the problem's going to come in, because Dexter toyed with that a lot, from what I understand during its series of where Harry's a good guy and all of that, and the Dark Passenger. And I think the flaw is that this show's not really going to cover that. I mean, it's sort of going to cover it, but the inclusion of Michael C. Hall and elements from the actual Dexter show allude to the fact that this is clearly setting that continuity. This isn't a, like, remake. I mean, sort of part of it, because apparently in the original series, from what I've read, Deb didn't like dresses, and here she's wearing, I don't know if you say dresses, but she's wearing more traditionally girly clothes, or female clothes. I mean, going by, some stereotypes and stuff like that, but that sort of thing, like skirts and crop tops. And so there's little bits and pieces, but it's still got to merge with it because it can't do a big, like, hey, we've reset the timeline thing. Or maybe it's sort of connected to the original Dexter, but not really. Although I read somewhere, and it's batshit insane, apparently they're going to make a Trinity Killer series, which is like, April Fool's is not only a few months away, it's literally next year, so maybe we shouldn't do that. But overall, I did enjoy this episode. It was very good. Although one thing I do find is Patrick Dempsey being the killer, that's not meant to be a twist, right? Because I mean, like, it's the guy from Thanksgiving, It's Detective Mark from Scream movies. Like, really? 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 Yeah, so, yeah, that's good. Anyway, I'll be right back in a second with my review of episode 4. Hey man, like, I was doing some reading on Dexter or what happened because in last episode say like, oh, remember what happened in that shipping container, Dexter? Don't mention it, Dexter, okay? Don't mention it. And I was like, oh, what happened? So I went on TV Tropes and looked up some of the character stuff and oh my meow. Wow, okay, this if they show some of that stuff, this might be Scarface levels of like messed up. Yeah, that was something. I suppose I'm not going to say I was spoiled because, I mean, this show assumes that you've watched the original Dexter and Dexter New Blood. So, like, if you've watched those, you know exactly what's going to happen. And if you haven't watched those, then you're not really getting spoiled because that stuff is all in public domain, so to speak. So, but yeah, wow, holy shit. It kind of explains how we go from my little worthy little boy Dexter to shaved and Cooper Dexter. Yeah, wow, that's pretty messed up. But this episode is also pretty messed up because it's the first time Dexter fights someone who's on his level, and that person is Joe Pantoliano, aka Cypher from Matrix, aka the captain from Bad Boys movies, aka creepy guy from Bound, delete as appropriate, aka guy from Goonies, or one of them from Goonies. And it's interesting to see him in this, and he does a pretty good job as a character. You get a sense where there's some warmth to him, that he's much better at concealing who he is than Dexter, who anyone who spent more than 2 minutes with Dexter would be like, man, you're some freak ass shit Patrick Bateman motherfucker. You would think that, but they don't seem to. But this guy blends in even better. And I think that's trying to give us a sense of Dexter learning how to blend in, although sometimes he really does blend in perfectly, and other times he doesn't seem to be anything more than a robot. Maybe it's a mocking of Tom Cruise or something like that, much like the American Psycho movie. Although I think that's a bit cool. Tom Cruise made Magnolia, so it's pretty damn good. Anyway, yeah, I like this episode, but I find that we are on 3 shows combined in one, because you've got Deb going off doing Deb things, which basically in this case involves her and some rich accountant, who I'm going to guess is Estrada's son, because we got to connect the dots somehow, people. Everything has to connect. And also it's a reworking of Laura Moses stuff, like mother, like daughter, except the fact that Deb isn't in the flashbacks. Yeah, maybe she turns up at some point, because it's clear that oh shit, I can't even remember his name. Harry and Laura are getting more and more intimate. Yes, intimate. While Dexter is doing things, and Sophia, who liked Dexter, but it's like, hey, I'll go off with these guys at the club, and it's all getting a bit weird. But at least they're giving us the full. Between 3 stories, we're getting all of the Scarface treatment. It's just split up in 3 different stories, which don't necessarily connect brilliantly yet, but they're getting there. I do like how we get more of a sense of Dexter as a cop each week, a forensics cop. There's some cool stuff there. But where's it going? I get a sense that all these stories that don't coincide because Estrada's clearly going to be bad guy of season, and it does have a pretty. This one has a pretty good ending with Joe Pantoliano being hit by a car and Dex being like, oh shit, because he chased the guy out of his house and he bound his hands and he saw, oh no, the evidence. I mean, he got rid of the earrings, but you know, what's he going to do here? And that's quite a cool thing. Usually I hate it when cliffhangers are right in the middle of a particular scene, but in this case it's worse because it's clear case of there is no way Dexter should get out of this. He should go down for this and then he should never become a serial killer, but he can't. He has to, because they didn't change the timeline. They didn't fucking do that. So Dexter has to become a serial killer, which means he has to survive this. It means he has to never be suspected of anything, despite the fact that he's creepy as shit. And one of his A-listers is Patrick fucking Bateman. But that doesn't matter, because Dexter's going to escape this somehow. How? I don't know, but we've got a few days to next Friday to figure it out. So, yeah. I'm digging this show. Okay, I know I have complaints, but my complaints are from a critical standpoint. But I'm not watching this or really reviewing this as critic. I enjoy it, although it has lots of issues. But I'm trying to drown those issues out with caffeine-free Diet Coke and lemons because, you know, it's a growing drink for a growing person who's pushing 40. Oh, God. Yeah. Wow, yes. Okay, well, that's enough of that. I like this episode, and I'm liking True Romance 2 with Christian Slater. I just wish some of these storylines would actually match tonally, but then they're all compelling in the end. Isn't that what matters? And the answer is no. No, it's not. I'll see you next week.